Well, hello all. It's Saturday. Yes, Saturday. All right again. Oh, there I am on another video. It's hilarious. It's Saturday and it's February 17th, 2024. Yeah, I got the year right. I'm doing a little spotlight on a DVD, actual Blu-ray. Blu-ray, not DVD. Not to be confused with 4K, but a Blu-ray. I got this. This is from 2017, I believe, or 2019. I can't see the date. 2019, so 5 years ago. It was streamed on HBO Plus. I don't stream. I've said that many times. I have no Disney Plus. I have no Netflix. I have used it in the past just because I had people's passwords. But I don't do that no more because I don't really, it's streaming. I'd rather just get the thing and own it. I got this, Chernobyl. This is a miniseries on HBO. And it's about the Chernobyl disaster in Ukraine in April 26th of 1986. I remember when it happened, and I remember, I was younger, so I didn't really pay that much attention to it, and when it was on the news, but it's such an important piece of history that actually has a lot to do with today. Now it's 5 parts. I think it was like 6 hours. It stars Jared Harris. Jared Harris plays the main, protagonist in it. He's Valery Legasov. He was the deputy director of that whole nuclear area, which ironically was not far from Kiev. Kiev, not Kiev, Kiev, K-I-E-V, Kiev. Isn't it weird how they changed that? It's Kiev, the ghost of Kiev. And it's spelled with a Y. No, it's Kiev. They pronounce it all through this, Kiev. That's how I always knew it, but suddenly it turned into Kiev with a Y. If he wants to Tucker Carlson interview it, Putin, he pronounces it Kiev, Kiev, and Kiev. I don't know why I'm going off on that. It just annoys me when they do these little changes to reality. It's ridiculous. But anyway, who else was in this? Stellan Skarsgård, just fantastic. And who else was in it? Emily Watson, Jessica Buckley, fantastic acting, very riveting story. Obviously, it's a Hollywood treatment, but I think they pretty much nailed it, spot on. And the whole thing that was going on in the USSR at the time, the United Soviet States of Russia. So what happened was a nuclear explosion happened in Kiev, in Chernobyl. And it was due to the way the design of the actual nuclear reactor was, and it was due to incompetence, and it was due to just people not knowing really what they're doing. And it's a fantastic watch. I paid $6 for this, so now I own it, and now I'll watch. I might even watch it again. I'll maybe watch it with my son. But it's such a good watch where you actually see all the things that happened to break that down. Now, mind you, this Chernobyl incident in April of 86, April 26th of 86, was one of the key factors which caused the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. I think it was that and all that went on when they were in Afghanistan for whatever reason, fighting in Afghanistan, and the United States was arming the Mujahideen and people like Osama bin Laden to fight the Soviets. The money that was spent on that, and it was a lost war and a lost cause. Sound familiar? Sound familiar to what happened to the USSR in Afghanistan? Does it sound familiar to anybody? Maybe what we did for 20 years there? What a waste. What a waste of time. But that factor, and then the factor of Chernobyl, brought down the Soviet Union. It was just too much of a financial burden. It was just bad. Many people died. Many people more died that were reported. They've actually had to quadrant off that entire area for many decades. I think in 2019, right after this came out, Vladimir Zelensky, the current president of Ukraine, wanted to open it up as a tourist attraction. Just don't drink the water and don't touch nothing. Wow. Yeah, this is where we are. This is where we are. So, I'm not going to go through the whole nuance of it, of each episode, but it just breaks it down, and it's heart-wrenching. It's heart-wrenching, the people that died at the initial explosion, the people that died from the after effects due to cancer. You know, because there's a lot of ions that are created, I think like cesium-235, and there's another one, and I'm not sure if it's cesium-235, but some of these are quite unique. They do not occur in nature. Some of these, this fallout residue, does not occur in nature. It's strictly a man-made thing. But whatever, when watching this, you know, and you're watching it through each parts, you almost see a mirror of what's going on today in my own USSA, where there's so much corruption, there's so much ineptitude, there's so much mediocrity, and all people are really cared about are themselves, out of fear, or they're paid enough to look the other way, and it's all for the party, the political party. Do you see where I'm going? Do you see where I'm going? It's wild. We actually have become Russia. Russia has become the United States, and we have become Russia. We have a puppet in the office who is actually gone, and like they're in the process of attempting to remove him. Political opponents are being persecuted. People that protest are thrown in jail for ungodly amounts of time. They don't get a fair and speedy trial. Current opponents of the current regime are subjected to lawfare, where judges, not juries, judges decide your fate. Political paid judges decide your fate, or prosecutors that are paid and funded by outside sources. And it's so obvious of how corrupt and stupid they are, aka Fannie Willis. Wow. I don't even know what to say about that. This chick had the dress on backwards. She had her dress on backwards. What is that? What does that say? And just blatantly getting on the stand. Now, mind you, she didn't have to get on the stand, but she's such a dotoro. She just got and just volunteered all this information about cash and illegal sexual dalliances with underlings, and it's mind-boggling. Now, have you ever heard of what's her name? She was on I think it was MSNBC or NBC or CBS. I don't know. They're all the same. They're all propaganda. They're all under the guise of Operation Mockingbird. Yeah, look that up. I've talked about it in the past, but it's still going on today, and it's going on stronger than ever. They're giving talking points and a script. I'll show you a little example of it. It's an oldie but a goodie at the end of all this nonsense. But yeah, it's just wild. So anyway, Catherine Herridge, she was the first to kind of report on her report from the DOJ about Biden being so inept and so completely whacked out that he couldn't stand trial. But he's okay to be president. Now, She has since been fired here.
The importance of the interview with President Biden in October, but it also notes that there were significant gaps in his memory of those events, and those gaps, or the lack of information, would not sit well with the jury if it ever went to trial. It would create what the special counsel called reasonable doubt. Just finally, there's sort of a bottom line for people who work in the intelligence community. You can't emphasize enough the sensitivity of top secret information that was involved in this case, also what they call compartmented information. That's highly classified intelligence. Sources and methods are especially fragile. They can include human spies, they can include satellite imagery. So to have this information held in unsecure locations, this is a very real risk of compromise. And the intelligence officials I know say it's deeply disappointing to see any senior member of an administration behave in what they describe as a cavalier fashion with this highly sensitive information.
Yeah, she's been fired. She's been fired because she went against the regime, a.k.a. USSR. U.S. go against the regime, show trials. It's just, it's so weird. We've become the Soviet Union. And Russia, granted, I'm sure they still have their problems. I'm not saying Putin's some sweetheart, but I'm sure that's become the United States. It's clean, seems to be free. It's just wild. It's wild. It's wild what's going on. Absolutely wild. Chernobyl. And as I dovetail off that, we've got a couple of news stories here. Now, this is from exactly a year ago. Well, a year and a couple of days. February 13th. Google to expand misinformation pre-bunking initiative in Europe. And then, exactly 1 year later, Google's back at it again. Google vows to use AI models and work with EU anti-disinformation groups and global fact-checking groups to censor misinformation and hate. Man, because you know how bad hate is and misinformation, but who decides what is considered hate and misinformation? We do. Not me or we, but we, the people in charge. We will tell you what you can say and won't say. Whatever, man. Whatever. You know what's weird is that the truth, you never have to hide the truth. You never have to cover up for the truth. You never have to create an agency to protect the truth. You only have to protect it. You only create agencies and bureaus, and you have these groups and think tanks to protect lies, deceit, and propaganda. Does the European Union need support for its elections from a text behemoth like Google? Google certainly thinks so, and so does the EU. So this is all coming here, and it's so to speak, it's already here. Ask Catherine Herridge. And Google is doing its best using AI. It's just anti-disinformation groups, fact checkers. It's just so sad, so sad. But like I said, watch Chernobyl, and you see how people who are of the party, for the party people, not party on, Garth, but party people, party that were devoted to the Communist Party to such an extent that they will just accept anything that was said as truth. Until certain things happened, like a nuclear explosion, and they tried to cover it up like it never happened. They literally had scenes in this. We're like, there's nothing, it's a roof fire. The guy's like, there is no roof. And there's a big cloud, almost a mushroom cloud above it. This is how psychotic it is. It's like the gaslighting of today. It's just wild. It's wild. But what finally broke a lot of top-level people in here to finally see it and not go along the party line was they saw that the lies were affecting innocent people and killing innocent people, all to protect the party. Now, you could, well, I mean, we are pretty much a one-party system. There is that little false sense of duopoly, but it's fake. They're all psychotics, inept psychotics. But anyway, as I go along, here's something to protect our democracy. But anyway, go watch Chernobyl. Fantastic watch.
Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about troubling and irresponsible, one-sided news stories
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.